After 4 days of the WEC, we are finally here on the last and final day where only the best of the best will head into the grand finals. Live from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. This global event is proudly brought to you and organized by the IESF and MESF with ESI as our strategic partner. It is also supported by KBS, Rakan Muda, and Rakan Digital with our official partners IQ, Monster Energy, Red One, CK Music, Solos Merch, and Razer as our official chair sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rose, and today we will find out who stands at the peak of Mobile Legends gaming. Will Malaysia clinch a back-to-back championship, or will a new champion emerge today? But before that, let us see who is the first team to head onto the grand finals. And with that, there's no better way to kickstart our day than throwing it to our beloved casters. Casters, throwing it to you guys.
Thank you, Rose, for setting up such an amazing opening here for the WEC25. You're with us with Fasha Bani as well as Stafa on the caster decks, and we are super excited. We are nearing to the end of our day number 5, where right now all of the tensions are building up even more as we are entering to our top 4 teams at the semifinals.
It has been a long journey here, ladies and gentlemen. 4 days of competition have already concluded here at the World Esports Championship 2025, and only a single day remains. We already got to witness the crowning of Team Indonesia for the women's category at the end of day number 4, and now only one more throne remains to be claimed in the open category, where 4 teams will face off in the semi-finals to discover who our new king shall be.
Is it going to be the team that will be able to actually retain their title? Or will there be a rise of Garuda coming in to actually catch up? Or maybe there will be a rising of a dark horse that we haven't been seen so far, because so far we are seeing that Cambodia have doing their best at their own group stage as well.
Indeed, all of these teams have made it this far. They've proven why they deserve to be here. But that throne only stands empty for one squad, and they will have to take down every obstacle in their path to get there. Once again, as a reminder to all of you about the prize pool that we are going to be looking at for the open category here, the champion will be walking away with 32,500 USD, with second place coming out with 19,500, while third place will emerge with 13,500.
This shows that pretty much from top of the 4 teams, right? Malaysia, Indonesia, Cambodia, as well as Turkey. One of them, unfortunately, even they managed to actually survive to the semifinals, might not actually have the share for the prize pool as well. But it's okay. They made it here far. This is so much of already their pride coming in. They already have a lot of lights for their names. But looking back on all the brackets that's already been done, start out with the quarterfinals. Malaysia taking down Mongolia with 2-0. And that is the reason why they're going to meet off with Indonesia, who also trampled against Nepal. And we're talking about from the group stage, these 2 teams have been clean sweep record on their own team fights itself. Continuing on to Team Cambodia, who managed to shut down Kazakhstan previously yesterday with 2-0 as well. Now Turkey making a huge history right here, as yes, like we talked about 2024, they didn't actually even manage to the playoff itself.
Indeed, we've got some new names, we've got some old veterans, but all of them vying for a single title. Now, for the last day of WEC 2025, we are going to be looking at 4 matches. Our first 2, the first half of the day, are going to be covered by the 2 of us on the desk right now. It will be the semi-finals, with the first match being Malaysia versus Indonesia at 12 p.m, followed by Cambodia versus Turkey at 2 p.m.
two of the teams that is still new into the grand finals, or even half of the line into the grand finals. These two teams, Cambodia and Turkey, definitely is hunger for a new record to be set up here for 2025. But before we get into that, this is it. We have our host country to have to build up that strength to make sure they get that first final slot for the grand final.
It is unfortunate that this is a single elimination bracket, which means that every single match is just that much more dangerous. Team Malaysia going up against Team Indonesia is an age-old rivalry. I'm sure we all know the history that these two regions have had with each other in various international tournaments, and they'll be kicking off the final day of WEC with their matchup.
It's going to be tough, definitely, but then again, we are going to see what it's going to be like between these two teams. Again, we talked about how they are right now with a clean record. No one able to actually been dropped to a few semi-finals. They took down Kazakhstan 2-1. They took down Romania as well. But at the same time, they managed to shut down not only Peru, but also Nepal. Here comes to actually conquer as well as challenge the reigning champion of WEC 2024. Give it up to Team Indonesia!
Last year's WEC drone currently belongs to them, and they're not eager to give it up to anybody. With their vision fixated on the future and on this current matchup, we welcome our host country, hometown heroes, Team Malaysia!
Will Indonesia change their history of being the second runner-up of 2024 and trample Malaysia for their champion title here at 2025? This is going to be a redemption for them, especially the fact that Malaysia has already that championship title under their belt.
This is a team made up of players who are no strangers to defending their titles on the international stage. So for them, this is just another day at work. Team Malaysia are going to definitely put up a strong contention for the title, but this is only the semi-finals after all, so they got to keep it going strong. Let us talk about Momo, Skies, Stormy, Lalil, and Ute.
I mean, who doesn't know them, right? I mean, definitely we've been so far seeing amazing performance from all of them, especially the fact that we have a lot of things to talk about where they were able to actually have a really good run throughout the group stage until into the quarterfinals. And hopefully those momentum will keep up and especially will be continue on into fighting with Team Indonesia. But here's the thing, even if Team Malaysia is also on the great momentum as well, we cannot put down on Team Indonesia because they are also in a very clean street fight as well. We have Aran, Joe, Yezikel, Kabuki, as well as Widi.
Team Indonesia has been looking pretty clean so far in the WEC, and as you've already pointed out, Basha, both these teams are currently on an undefeated record throughout their time in the group stage as well as the playoffs. whoever goes down here is going to be that one singular stain. And it is unfortunate that it will happen right before the grand finals itself, but that is why many eyes are on this matchup currently. Both sides going to be quite good at aggressive early game plays overall, solid skirmishing. Hero pools are flexible, their experience on the international stage in both perspectives is invaluable. And we will see what happens when they clash.
Let's see, so far, I do think that pretty much we are seeing a lot of the meta polars coming in from the WEC. We talked about even throughout this 5 days. Definitely, they always prioritize whether Grok, Lapu Lapu, even Kaca Kaca is also a very good viable option to be put out first of all. But looking on the side of draft-wise Malaysia is very straightforward, even with a little bit of surprise element of that Nana putting off from Stormy as well. That is the things that we love to see from Team Malaysia. Now, Team Indonesia, they like a little bit of direct. They love to be a little bit straightforward when it comes to their draft. So the question is, are they going to actually be a little bit also surprise element for this semi-final?
Indeed, if they've got any hidden strategies that they've been lying in wait for, now is the time to bring it up. I imagine that many teams here in WEC have been keeping an eye on Team Malaysia in particular as the defending champions, the one opponent they want to take down in order to challenge the title for. So considering the experience that Team Indonesia has as a lineup, I would be very surprised if they hadn't prepared something for this particular match.
And the fact that they have their women category, they already have their women's able to actually get that championship back-to-back yesterday. So that's kind of been a little bit of a boost morale for the players from Team Indonesia as well. So definitely there is something to be put on the pedestal. It could also build up a little bit of pressure. So I'll say like, hey, if our team women can do it, must be that men can do as well. But moving into our first map of the day is going to be Broken Walls. Why is it that whenever it's in like woman category, we always keep seeing flying clouds, but when it comes to the men, I keep on seeing a little bit of challenge from their own RNG god, you know? So, but it's okay. I'm liking it. This is why I'm able to actually have the opportunity to cast for the semi-finals men category.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting to see what happens here. Broken Walls is an interesting map because while it does affect the jungle most of all, the highest impact is going to be on that Turtle and Lord Pit, affecting the Lord dances quite a bit. We're jumping into draft now for game number 1. Team Malaysia on the blue side, getting rid of some very interesting heroes right off the bat, the Angela and the Helker.
I think pretty much we did saw some of the games that already passed through. There were times that Hellcat was actually going in, and those are the things that they're trying to actually hold out just a little bit or even try to avoid it out. Here's the thing, Grot is still open. Are they going to actually give that opportunity to be picked up? Because they have the first pick, but at the same time, they're going to actually give up that 2 picks as well to Team Indonesia.
Previously, when Team Malaysia was playing against Team Mongolia in the quarterfinals, they were actually the team that was banning out Grok both times, which allowed them to grab the Gatot Kaca for themselves. Now that both roamers are being left open with the Uranus being banned out by Team Malaysia, it creates a very interesting question. Do they want to go for the Grok first themselves? Do they want to grab Gatot instead? Is there a different hero that they would rather prioritize, like the Lapu Lapu, which so far has been very consistent in Momo's hands?
And it seems that it is open for them. They can take the Lapu Lapu if they want. Even the Grok is still open for themselves. Let's see how they want to actually open things up. Because so far, that is going to be the safe option for Team Malaysia if they want to actually go for the direct. But at the same time, are they going to actually prioritize even the jungler even at this state? Because Hayabusa is still open as well. And even I see like Lancelot. So far, we do see from the side of women's, right? We keep on seeing that Lancelot was been denied countless of time. Only a couple of times during the early stage, like when it comes to the group stage, we did see that Lancelot was able to pass through. But here on out, it seems that Grok is going to be picked up first for the choice of Team Malaysia. So Lapu Lapu is still open. Gatot Kaca is still open for Team Indonesia as well.
Team Indonesia don't need to lock in Gatot here. They can go for it in the 3rd pick since they already know that Team Malaysia won't be contesting it away. Going for higher priority heroes here will be more valuable. Things like the Lapu-Lapu are good. Lancelot, which you mentioned was almost perma-banned on the women's category, is still wide open. Eve as well, having very high priority. They will take the Lance, but they pair it with the Zeus in.
Oh, even Jushin, I think pretty much only once or twice that was able to pass through in the woman category. So yeah, pretty much liking how Indonesia is coming in for the first two draft. Team Malaysia, they still be able to actually pick out the assassin if they want to though, but Hayabusa, if they want to actually pick it up, we did saw how they were able to actually trample Mongolia on their fight at the quarterfinals if they want to actually go to that direction, or they want to actually pick up Kimi right now for at least getting, but no, oh, wait, never mind, Kimi already been banned off, my bad, I'm sorry, but Eve is open like you talked about.
Eve is good. The Eve-Grok combination was very popular on the women's side of the bracket, so I wouldn't be surprised if Team Malaysia goes for that, but they will probably need to prioritize the Hayabusa to make sure that Sky's hero pool isn't too limited later on. So something has to be traded. So they give up the Eve, they go for the Lapu, and as expected, the Gatot Kaca will get locked in for Indonesia.
Let's see, on the Indonesia side, if they want to actually take down Eve, can be done as well, just to hold out a little bit of the pool for the mid laner, or even the gold lane. They can actually just take down even Ranger right now if they want to actually shut down a little bit. Even Lunox is also a particular, but it seems that Eve going to be the first choice for Indonesia to take down first.
We know that Stormy has a very wide hero pool, so it's going to be very difficult to particularly target down the mid lane, but getting rid of Eve makes the most sense overall since that is still a very effective hero in the current meta. They don't really need to ban any other mages. I think if they're particularly worried, then Lunox is the one to get rid of, or maybe Selena, but otherwise I think they can start focusing on gold lane instead. Team Malaysia, they're going to start banning fighters as is expected since they already have their Lapu-Lapu and Indonesia hasn't locked in their EXP lane. Looks like it is going to be the Selena being banned out by Indonesia.
Again, prioritizing on the mid lane as well, but again, there's still a couple of heroes that Stormy can definitely flex it out here, so we're not pretty much too worried about that. On Team Malaysia, they are focusing on the EXP. If they want to take down Yuzong, they can also shut down maybe Arlet or even Glue, because we do see Glue is also particularly a little bit of popular on their side here for the WEC25.
I think Arlet is probably a little scarier, but there's also options like the Alice. It all depends on how much of an advantage Team Malaysia wants to put in the EXP lane. Hilda also is slipping our thoughts a little bit there. They have the Hayabusa. You definitely want to get rid of that. Ooh, Obsidia from Team Indonesia.
Okay, Obsidia. I think we rarely see it on the women category, but we do see spotted out a couple of games from the men category always picking up this Obsidia. Not to say the win rate is actually like a confirmed one, but it kind of actually have a lot of base ground when it comes to the late damage wise. But again, when it comes to Team Malaysia, they have a solid ground when it comes to the frontliners, as well as to make sure they be able to survive it out. And in the equation where the fact that Sakis, if he'll be able to actually do a little bit of execution for the backline, I think that might be okay so far. But here's the thing, Team Malaysia, who they want to actually pick up? Is it going to be... Oh, Farsa is going to actually be picked out, as well as X-Work.
Okay, Team Malaysia going for double fighter side lane without a notable scaling late gamer, but they have Haya and Farsa, so it's actually manageable. I thought that they might go for Lunox rather than Farsa, but if they go Farsa, that means that they are much more easily able to threaten Obsidia and just prevent her from being able to do notable DPS in the backline. We can see in the crowd right now, the Malaysian fans have showed up in full force for the final day here of the World Esports Championship. So Team Malaysia definitely has the benefit of home ground support on their side.
All the moral supports coming in. This is what we're talking about home buff itself, and hopefully it will definitely boost up the Team Malaysia itself. For the last pick is going to be Esmeralda. I mean, going into Indonesia, right? I like their draft as well. It has a lot of counters as well against Team Malaysia. Malaysia also be able to actually do a really good backline engagement with Farsa for the damage-wise. But here's the thing, when it comes to execution, this is what it's going to be like. And I'm not sure if you guys can actually catch up or even able to hear the sound of the roaring, the crowd just screaming out and giving all the supports coming into Indonesia as well as Malaysia. Right now, as draft is already been written, I feel like both sides has their answers.
Yeah, both sides have their strengths, they have their weaknesses. Team Indonesia is going to be the slightly more scaling composition. Their early game pressure not going to be very high unless Joe is able to make big plays across the map, which means that Team Malaysia will generally have advantage around that first turtle timing, and if they get the lead in the mid game, might be able to close it out early against their rivals here in game number 1.
Welcome to World Esports Championship 2025. One of them will go to the grand final. Who will it be? Is it going to be Team Indonesia or Malaysia?
We hear the cheers of the crowd. They grant energy to the players up on stage right now as they engage in the Land of Dawn for game number 1. And we are already seeing Skies doing some sneaky business here, stealing the orange buff away. Team Indonesia has no idea.
Wow. Sneaky, sneaky, stealer right there. And somehow the rotation-wise is not aware by the team of Indonesia. This is going to be good. Movement-wise, Malaysia is doing well. But at the meantime, Ray zoning comes through, goes into Mighty Swing, and the rapid as well. Got a lot of hits right there. Is it going to be enough? Ezekiel comes in just to drag out Yums, but they're going to be able to do so. But goes in for the puncher. Yum survives it out. But at the same time, burning the ground! Lolia gets the full blood!
And this has been a key point of Lolil throughout the entire tournament. He's always known to be an ego challenger, but the number of times he has won out these gold lane trades has been stellar throughout WEC so far. Team Malaysia carving out a nice advantage for them. By now, Joe has realized he does not have his second buff, and that is going to give Skies a nice EXP lead, especially with the turtle coming up in 10 seconds.
Oh, even the steal was just perfect coming out for Team SRG. Oh, sorry, Team Malaysia. My bad. I guess I'm still not done with EWC, I guess. But this is WEC. We're talking about Team Malaysia right now. Rotation-wise is definitely good. Goes in for the Mighty Swing. Now going in for the Feather. Stormy doing some damage, takes down Weedy!
This is a classic Stormy hero. You don't get to see it very often because it is quite easily picked off, but the Farsa just has so much burst damage at level 4, and Team Malaysia knows it. Playing around that timing on both Stormy and Skies means they get an easy pick-off, even forcing out the Revitalize, and now they have the numbers advantage coming in for the first turtle.
Turtle definitely be in the hands of Team Malaysia. Not gonna actually be allowed, but goes in for the tectonic charge, goes for the Mighty Swing as well. Stormy takes down Weedy for the double kill right here in the hands.
The signature aggression of Team Malaysia showing itself once again. Team Indonesia, they've been in these situations before, and they are well aware that their draft doesn't give them as much of an early game advantage. Their goal is to make sure they don't fall too far behind so that the scaling can start kicking in on Joe and Kabuki.
A lot of great position comes through right now. Sakis!
He stole it.
Away again!
Skies has been popping off. Hayabusa stealing multiple buffs away. We are looking at a near 2-level lead between the junglers already. And this is Joe on the Lancelot as well, one of the most feared heroes in the meta currently. The macro play and the rotational pressure from Malaysia is too much.
Ooh, even the bravest fighter comes in, but the shadow kills comes through. Is it gonna be enough? Goes in for the hit, but no! Ares managed to survive it all, but that was a really great push comes in from Team Malaysia.
That was very, very close. Aran able to keep himself alive there, but we can see that the EXP lane has been completely won out by Momo with a little bit of assistance from the mid lane. Lolil so far doing a very good job as well against Kabuki, a full level up. Now Yums is coming in to give even more of a hand.
Goes in for the diving composition, last insanity to burst the ground. Goes in for the tectonic touch. Yums shuts down Kabuki.
The pressure from Team Malaysia right now is oppressive. And I don't think Team Indonesia has felt this since the beginning of WEC. They've been pushed into a corner so far, but nothing like this. 4 minutes, 3K gold lead for Team Malaysia. First items completed in the side lanes. And once again, we did say that Team Malaysia would be stronger at this point, but
goes
still.
in for the tectonic touch. Shadow kills comes through. Not gonna be enough damage though, but still, it is enough pressure comes through from Team Malaysia.
Team Malaysia playing for their strengths. They're well aware that this is the time where they just need to play for tempo and get as much of a snowball as possible. Obsidian is definitely an off-meta pick, but once you get into the
Malaysia, download the Lala Move app and place a delivery order today.
and just close out the game ASAP.
Great composure, just trying to actually hold out the position of Team Indonesia. They're being denied every countless attempt, especially the movement has been controlled by Team Malaysia. And this is why they are so aggressive to a point that there's no chance whatsoever. Setting up just to make sure that all the pushing of the wave comes through. Team Malaysia still has a lot of the macro gamings as well as objective in their hands.
Joe could be in a bit of trouble here.
Going in for a fight, Mighty Swing comes through, goes in for the tectonic charge. Joe! Shuts down in the hands of Momo!
That timing from Humes was actually incredible. He knew exactly when Joe would be popping out of the iframes and landed the tectonic charge on time. There's really nothing that he could have done there. Team Malaysia still popping off currently. For the side of Team Indonesia, they're gonna need to figure something out. Their goal right now is to slow down the game as much as possible. Witty going to need to play an important role in providing information because Team Malaysia just has too much freedom on the map currently, and that is affecting their advantage over the side lanes.
You can pick up Humes as much as you want. Humes gonna be able to survive it all. He just comes in with a Mighty Swing and shriek, shriek, shriek. You are done for good. You're not gonna be able to pick me up. I'm as heavy as rock. Who are you to move me around, bro? But at the same time, right here, more pressure comes in from Team Malaysia. They know for a fact that they will be able to set things up for the third turtle.
Now, Team Indonesia does still have some paths to play. Joe is a little bit behind, 2 levels actually, from Sky, so the scaling there is not really going to kick in. Ideally, they want to play around Aran since the Esmeralda has not actually died yet. Maybe some split push pressure would assist, but Aran now in some danger himself.
But
Ooh.
Yes comes in! Oh, Pin shut it around, but Stormy able to take down Aran, but it's going to be traded out by Kabuki. Not a good trade comes in because of that overextension.
And that's what we're talking about with that Obsidian. That Hunt of Bone can really punish heroes like Hayabusa if you're not careful. Skies had no way to escape there. It looks like Kabuki will be able to get away from Momo as well. So that's going to buy Indonesia a little bit of time. At the very least, they're able to stop the snowballing on the Hayabusa. But Team Malaysia still controlling most of the map.
So far, going in for the Rampant, going in the ground for Jor, but it's not going to be enough though. There's just a little bit of poking coming in from Team Malaysia. Again, this is the third turtle. If they want to actually go in, they have to wait out for Sakis to set things up. Even Stormy just trying to zone things out. A lot of rotation that is done by Team Indonesia. They know for a fact they need to stick together like glue.
Team Indonesia can take advantage of Team Malaysia trying to play as much of the map as possible. If they can pair people up with Kabuki and land the Hunt of Bone, they can still... Oh, that was a steal. Sky's got the purple right after the turtle too.
Hello, police. Can somebody tell me, can anyone help that there is a stealer right here in the Land of Dawn and his name is Sakais right here. Able to steal everyone, but corridors are open. Managed to goes in into the front line right here. Shadow Kill comes in. Sakais shuts down Kill. Great diving composition and seal away the turret for the mid.
Kabuki just barely missed the timing on hitting that Hunt of Bone. That could have been a kill and punish on Skies. But he was able to dash out just in time. They're not able to find the land slot up top, so Joe will be able to survive there. But we are looking at a 7-1 kill score in favor of Team Malaysia. 6.5k lead in 8 minutes. Next Lord is coming up in another minute or so. So there is still a little bit of breathing room right now. But Team Malaysia is going to be upping the tempo. They want to make sure they continue controlling the map and not allow their opponents to extend into the river.
This is the level where Team Malaysia is getting a lot of the upper hand. Even with the goal lead right now with 5,000 in their hands, they know they can actually switch things up. They can actually control all the motion, but at the same time, putting up that Earther Rampant denies any movement coming up from Team Indonesia, and at least they can get the turtle or even the turret right here at the bottom one.
So far, so good for Team Malaysia. Team Indonesia still needs a little bit more time. Kabuki only has 2 items.
Oh, Lovia just picks it up. Sakis takes down Nara, now goes in for the dash. Going in for the diving. Is it going to be enough though? Unfortunately, Sakis had to back things up. A little bit overextension, but still managed to screw away. But Kabuki with Momo. It's not going to be a really good 1v1, but it seems that Team Malaysia comes in. Takes down attack with Yus comes through. Kabuki barely surviving out, but it's going to be Momo with the last hit. Shut down Kabuki.
The movements from Team Malaysia are so controlled right now. They get a kill down bottom, they back off, they connect with Momo. who is already communicating with them that this Obsidia is way out of position. And the timing on that could not be better either. The Lord literally has just spawned. And we know that with this, Team Indonesia has no chance of contesting. They just have to try and get whatever space they can on the map.
Let's see. So far, we know that Aran has been surviving so at the moment right now with the crucials that even though he will be able to actually pull through for the front line, but again, there's not much of the setup that is needed. A lot of the AoE that is required for the team of Indonesia doesn't come through, and this is where the fine line that if you cannot actually catch someone, Team Malaysia just gonna come through with it.
But even if they want to make the catch, Team Malaysia right now moving around the map a little bit too cleanly. Trying to think of ideas for Team Indonesia currently, but the goal difference may be a little bit too big. They're going to need to try and prolong this game for another 8 minutes at least for them to remain relevant. And that means surviving another 2 or 3 Lords coming in from the opposite side, the first of which is already pushing down bottom.
Almost barely getting Aran there, but still it's going to be a good zoning. Already been put out, goes in for the dash. Mighty Swing as well. It's going to be Federer and strike. Aran takes down by Stormy, and now they goes in for the dash. But this is already enough. Just taking down one player at a time. Discipline comes through for Team Malaysia.
This is still not too bad though for Team Indonesia. They managed to trade 1 for 1. Their Lancelot is pushing on the other side, so they won't have to deal with another wave. But the Lord is finally connecting, and there is no holy defense.
Holy defense already broken. This is going to be bottom turret in the hands of Team Malaysia already. They want to set things up. Goes in for the dash. Stick High takes down Kabuki. Federer is already open. Weedy is in the open. Stormy going to do some damage there, but still surviving it out. Stormy had to flicker away to move it, but goes in for the takedown in touch. Lulia takes down Aran. Crystal in the loose right now. Just a little bit more. Sticky takes down Weedy. Only left with Yesical. Is it going to be enough? Last Insanity! Oh, barely getting alive right there, but still managed to actually give a lot of pressure in the baseline. But here, Joe, all by himself, was tagged out by Momo.
Another wave pushing down bottom. It's a 1v4 defense. Kabuki just came back, but is the damage enough? The Crystal's exposed.
Oh, man, the rest by Stormy takes down Jessica, and it's going to be a first win in Team Malaysia!
In dominant fashion, the host country representatives steamroll over their longtime rivals. An absolute dumpstering in game number 1, where it didn't look like Team Indonesia could do anything to stop them.
Can the audience help me? We gotta call the police because there's a stealer on the loose at the Land of Dawn. Every single buff, every single creep, all resources has already been taken by Sakais. So that shows how much dominance from Team Malaysia and Indonesia. Yes, they had the answer. Again, like we talked about, they have a capability to actually lock on, maybe doing a little bit of divide and conquer. And that was what we saw from the team of Indonesia. They actually let Lancelot do a little bit of split push. But again, there's not much of a damage to actually support if they want to actually go for the team fight.
Yeah, I feel like Team Indonesia's draft here was actually a little bit reactive if we talk about anything. A lot of their hero picks came out not of their own volition, but as a way to respond to things that they were seeing on the opposite side. The Zusin being their first pick because they saw the Grok, the Obsidia being locked in because they knew it could punish the Hayabusa. But in doing so, you kind of miss out on the cohesion that you would normally have if you're just sticking to an original game plan. And knowing that they're going to be losing out just straight up in terms of damage and map control due to the way their draft works gives so much space that Team Malaysia can take advantage of.
Hot take. I think maybe there's a possibility, yeah, Zushin might be okay to be picked out even though it was earlier on. But that Obsidia though, it's too late. Here's the thing about Obsidia, right? Yes, during the first introduction of Obsidia, she is massive. But here's the thing about her right now. She is a little bit of needed time as well as scaling on going into the game. Even yourself that coming into a minute or even 10 minutes right there, they still need 8 minutes for them to actually step things up so they can have the same level to fight off with Team Malaysia. So maybe there's a possibility that Obsidia could have been changed into another hero, then things could be a little bit different for Team Indonesia.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the Obsidia needed to be locked in, I feel like there were still possibilities for Team Indonesia. They could actually went into something like a Ruby instead for the fighter gold lane. Then they would have had an easier time dealing with Team Malaysia in the initial stages. That final pick, Esmeralda, as well, is only really going to help out in lane against Lapu Lapu. You will end up not having a very good time against Lolil. So Team Indonesia didn't look to have the best draft here to deal with what Malaysia was throwing at them. And that is also going to be their first notable defeat here in WEC all the way in Game 1 of the semis.
14 over 2 kills with 14k total goal. All objective in the hands of Team Malaysia. How more dominance did you want to get right here? This is only the opening of our semi-finals and we're already seeing so much fire burning from the hands of our Team Malaysia. But again, this is going to be the best of 3. That means if Team Malaysia can keep up again with the second round, they will go to the first slot of Grand Final unless Indonesia have something to say about it.
I hope that they do, because this has been a rivalry brewing for a long time. The match that many of us were hoping to see before WEC 2025 even started. Looking at the statistics, obviously a lot of it is going to be in the favor of Team Malaysia. They were dominating right from the very beginning. And I feel like this is information that any team needs to register. You cannot give Malaysia's mid-trio an early game combo. Farsa with Grok as well as the Hayabusa enables them to move so quick around the map, and then they have lane prio in the side lanes as well, so it was already a recipe for success.
Top key players, yes, this is it. Please, Police, please, can you handcuff the keys for stealing every single buff in the Land of Dawn? He is the goal hunter with 831 GPM. He is also the goat with 38,810 total damage deal. Our tanker, definitely, we talked about how Esmeralda with the skill set definitely will be able to survive it out with the swish, slash, whip, lash. But then again, no matter how much you survive at the front line, if you don't have much of the damage to actually build up from the follow-up, they will also falter out. But Yums with that tectonic charge every single time just lands it off, making sure a good setup for Team Malaysia.
Yums' timing on his crowd control is just on another level entirely, recognizing the iframes to be able to get the lockdown when needed. But our MVP of game number 1 is definitely going to be Skies. You might want to put handcuffs on him, but you gotta catch him first. This man is a ninja in every form of the word. Starting the match by stealing the buff straight away, and then putting his teammates defensively in his jungle to make his opponents think that he is actually there instead. It's such a risky maneuver because if they scout you out, you might be punished and you might end up losing already from the beginning, but he took the risk. Then he continued playing aggressively, supporting the Farsa to get picks-offs and stealing more buffs away from Indonesia.
Great first blood coming in from Loliel. I mean, talking about between Xbox as well as Obsidia, we talked about it because when it comes to damage-wise, Obsidia just needs a little bit more time to set things up compared to Xbox. If they already go into the level 3, the burning of the Ignition is already good enough to just burn the ground with the damage. But coming off to that steal-wise, I think pretty much this is where the fine line of Indonesia, they will try to learn from the mistake of not overestimating or even not focusing on all the location or the maps wise, and this is where the fine line that they might be able to actually just change things up for the second draft. But so far, I feel like this is definitely a clean fight indeed by Team Malaysia. And in bahasa Malaysia, we say, inilah dia tuan, ini dia orangnya, tolong tangkap dia tuan. But in English, they say, please, can you actually catch Skies? I don't think so, because he's just too easy to be just running around with his quad shadow.
Team Malaysia has been having a little bit too much freedom this tournament around. Every single game is so dominant in their favor. So perhaps we do need to call for backup at this point to actually catch them in their tracks. Will anyone be able to stop their unstoppable rampage? Team Indonesia currently backs against the wall. They made it this far. They want to be able to take on Team Malaysia once again, move on into the grand finals. But what needs to change is the question we need to ask now.
we did talk about Obsidia. I mean, there's nothing wrong with picking up that Obsidia, right? But here's the thing. If only Team Indonesia, just a little bit of awareness was actually up a bit for that first round, they might be able to actually control a bit the movement of Team Malaysia, because it was pretty much how Team Malaysia was freely roaming around the land of dawn, getting a lot of the buffs, stealing every single crypt, and this is where the fine line that if you give so much of resources or even the objective in the hands of your opponent, it's not going to be easy for you to step things out. And you talked about how snowball effects happen. It's not just going to happen just because of the fight or getting kills, it's also because of how much of the gap that you were able to be built from the early games itself.
I think if we look at it objectively, both Team Malaysia and Team Indonesia are squads that thrive if they are given freedom of movement in the first couple of minutes. And the way you earn freedom of movement is by having lane prio in multiple parts of the map. That's why we've already talked about both these teams can be quite aggressive early game because they want to claim those factors for themselves. And a large part in claiming those factors is having a good draft. Team Malaysia had a very solid one. They had lane prio in basically every single lane, which meant they could move around unpunished almost anywhere they wanted, while Team Indonesia tried playing a reactive composition that scaled into the late game. That means that you have to take the risk of losing out on rotational pressure and just generally play defensively to allow yourself to scale. Team Malaysia, though, are quite used to dealing with those sort of strategies. They up the ante so much. The way they move around and coordinate with each other means that you cannot afford to pick a draft that loses to them early.
And talking about how the ban-wise coming out from Team Indonesia, right? They actually give away Grok from the first time. And not only that, for the second pick as well, they actually as well focusing on getting the Jushin, and then they picked up, if I'm not mistaken, they actually take, which one was it? I think...
they went Lancelot.
Lancelot, yeah, they go for the Lancelot. But then, here's the thing. There's a lot of the heroes of Assassin that we talked about how it is a meta. It's either you actually take down Lancelot or you actually take down Hayabusa. And when you actually give that opportunity for both sides to have it, this is where the fine line that it's too much of freedom or even open for you to actually play around with the draft.
I think it's fine to keep it open. It's because you want to keep it basic in the end. And I feel like Team Malaysia was actually attempting to do that, right? When we look at the heroes that they banned out initially, the Angela, the Helker, these are not what you would normally see nowadays, but they're good T strategies. So Team Malaysia is basically posing the question, we're gonna take you on in typical draft fashion, typical front to back, play the game, the style that it is meant to be played, and we'll see who's better. In this case, Team Indonesia tried to switch it up by going for a draft that should be able to counter individual pieces of Team Malaysia, but you gotta be able to deal with it as a whole.
And I do think that when it comes to the mid laners, right, we talked about how when it comes to Stormy, too much flexibility. I'm looking down our FCB even saying that, hey, talk a little bit about Stormy, right? That Farsa, we talked about how, yes, it's either going to be Farsa or Lunox, but when it comes to mobility-wise, Lunox has the capability not just for the damage, but Brilliance-wise comes in, will be able to move around very freely and having a really composure to just back things up and have a very quick movement or involvement into the team fight. But Stormy just showing off how, from the backline, he can do so much damage. But here on out for our second round is going to be Dangerous Grass. Okay, for now say that man category is so fun because every single time when I cast for the woman category, it's always the flying clouds, flying clouds. Hello, God of RNG. So very biased there, right? But it's okay. At least I have the opportunity to cast for the men category for the last day, so it's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much anyway.
I like how you're so passionate about this one particular aspect.
I hate that map.
You know?
I hate flying
It's not the heroes. It's not the metas. It's the map. You know?
Yeah.
You just don't like clouds.
No.
No?
I like cotton candy, but I don't like clouds.
You know, there's one meme on the internet where it's just a news article, old man screams at cloud. That's you right now.
That's me, yeah.
That's
exactly
the situation we're looking at. At the very least, it's going to be grass this time around, and we all know that we love to touch grass, right, everyone? Game number 2. Team Indonesia gonna be on the blue side this time.
Grok as well as Kimi been taken out. I think pretty much we did see that Kimi was already been picked off from the last map or even last draft. But Grok definitely needs to be banned out, even though, yes, you can able to open it out, but it's too risky if you actually give that opportunity for your opponent. It's either you actually take that for yourself, because Indonesia has the first pick, so they say like, nah, we gotta actually take out that Grok. Don't give them. So maybe there is a hero they want to pick out first of all before giving that opportunity to Team Malaysia.
It is interesting that they would ban the Grok. It basically means they have to go Kacha first, otherwise it gets stolen away. Unless
Or
they
even
intend...
Lapu-Lapu if they want.
They might be thinking of going Eve first.
Oh yeah.
And then if the Gatot gets picked by Team Malaysia, then they can go for the Hylos. That might be the idea we're looking at right now. Looks like Team Malaysia will just take out the Baxia. So let's see what Team Indonesia's idea is for their first pick.
Let's see. Are they gonna actually go for the year first? That can actually change things around for Team Indonesia. But again, I kind of feel like they are also particularly looking on the side of Gatot Kaca instead to be picked up. So Malaysia is still open if they want to actually pick out that Yi for themselves, or they want to do the same thing where they picked out their own assassin jungler again for the first time for their two first heroes.
And Team Malaysia has the option of both Lancelot and Hayabusa this time around. Team Indonesia will just probably grab whichever hero Team Malaysia doesn't go for here. Eve with a Lancelot combo is not too bad, but the synergy of it is going to be a bit lacking. And they're also going to be needing to look for a roamer now that both Grok and Gatot have been taken off the table. With Gatot on the opposite side as well, Kalea is also not as viable. Looks like it's going to be the Lancelot and the Zeus Sin.
What is this? This is a challenge face on or saying like, nah, this is how you use your Jushin actually, Indonesia. So we're gonna show you how it is. So this is Team Malaysia picking up Jushin for themselves. So Eve is still open for Team Indonesia if they want to actually pick it up. Great combo coming in for Gatot Kaca as well. Even another assassin to be picked up if they want to actually take that Hayabusa as well.
Yeah, I think Eve should be prioritized. It should be Eve Hayabusa unless Indonesia really wants Lapu-Lapu. That's the choice they have to make. I think regardless, they have to go Haya unless they're particularly confident that their assassin hero pool will still be okay going into the second half of the draft. But Eve Gatot is just such a solid combo overall. It is going to be the Hayabusa with the Uranus instead.
Okay, I think pretty much this is kind of a bit of the repeat of the draft, I think, when they fight off with Romania, yeah. But without Gatot Kaca to be picked out, they actually had Lapu-Lapu, Hayabusa, as well as Uranus as their combo. And it was successful. Great rotation coming in from them. They were able to actually control some of the movements from the early on. So this is the aggression they are looking for. At least they can be able to survive it out for the early rotation. I think they saw how what Malaysia was doing for the first round. They want to make sure at least early game, they will not be easily taken down.
But picking Uranus at this point is still risky because there's a lot of fighters that can deal with it. Team Malaysia has the chance to lock in one right now. Something like the Esmeralda would be fairly safe. But the Hilda also slipping through the cracks. This was banned in the second half earlier by Team Malaysia. So they're gonna use it to try and threaten this Haya as much as possible. Once we go into the second phase of bans, Team Malaysia should start getting rid of mid laners, Eve being the priority. Indonesia probably wants to ban heroes like Xborg, Alice, and Glue.
Let's see. Not just Eve, Ludax is also can be also taken out as well. There's a lot of the focus right now can be done for Team Malaysia. So let's see who they want to actually take down. I think Yif will definitely be the first pick to shut down first of all. Just sold out a little bit of the mid laner for Team Indonesia.
Among the planes exists the equilibrium.
As is expected right there, Eve gets taken out. So Indonesia should probably ban Xborg in this phase. I'd be very surprised if they don't. Besides that, getting rid of other heroes that'll give Uranus a hard time is also fairly important. So those are going to be Alice, Esmeralda, Glue. Those are the ones that they might be the most worried about overall.
What about the goal lane though? I mean, we haven't seen Granger so far. I mean, do we want to actually put out Carry here? Is it going to be a little bit risky even with Carry having a true damage to just burst down, to just shred and melt out every single...
Scary for which team?
For Malaysia actually.
For Malaysia. No, Xborg is scarier.
Yeah, definitely. But it's going to be Cho actually been picked out by Indonesia to be shut down. I think pretty much we did see some of the double fighter lane is quite scary as well to be picked up.
End up being kind of 50-50. Then getting rid of the Cho is perfectly fine because there is a less risk here of Team Malaysia going into double fighter side lane, so you probably don't need to ban Ruby since they already have Zusin and Lance. That's not quite enough scaling to go double fighter. Looks like the Lunox will be targeted, so full focus from Team Malaysia on the mid lane.
Let's see, one more to go. And you talked about how when it comes to double fighter, it really doesn't actually have the potential here in the draft-wise of Team Malaysia, and I do agree on that because damage-wise, they still need more, so they probably will be leaning on MM there. So if Indonesia want to actually take down at least one more marksman or even goal lane, that would be probably a good case for them. So it seems that it's going to be GG instead for their side. Again, fighter prioritization from Team Indonesia.
I actually forgot that CC was still open and completely slipped my mind at this point. Yeah, that is a perfectly understandable ban because this is a hero that can be flexed into both side lanes and would give Uranus a hard time regardless. But it does mean that Xborg is left open. If Team Malaysia is okay with putting Hilda in the roam position, Xborg versus Uranus is going to be very solid overall. I don't actually think they'll go for their second fighter here yet because there is the option to flex it out. What do I know, right? It's gonna be the Lapu Lapu.
Malaysia always surprises off, but Lapu Lapu has been a great addition coming in for the WEC. I think we pretty much have seen a great ground solid coming in for the initiation. That Bribus fighter comes in. It's pretty much is a great meta to be straight up used here for their semi-finals. But Team Indonesia, how they want to actually contest this out with Team Malaysia, they still need a little bit of that damage, so they pick up Obsidia again, as well as stealing out Farsa from the hands of Team Malaysia. Again, it is a little bit risky because Team Indonesia did kind of actually have a falter case when it comes to the first draft. They didn't have enough time to actually scale out this Obsidia, so let's see if maybe after that first loss, they will be able to patch things up.
Going for Obsidia a second time. This is a marksman hero that can punish assassins. That is the main reason why Indonesia is going for it, to see if they can cheekily catch off Skies. But it already didn't work too well for them the first time around, so I am a little bit concerned. The Farsa as well might find herself in a bit of difficulty since there's a lot of dive heroes on the opposite side. One thing that Team Indonesia can play for is their mid lane duo is very strong overall. But looks like Team Malaysia will still go double fighter regardless of the lack of scaling. The Xborg in the gold lane for a second time, which means they want to play hard and fast again for the early mid game.
Oof, this is scary. I mean, when it comes to damage scaling wise, yes, it is a little bit risky on Team Malaysia, but hey, this is where we say we're just going to Langga. We're just gonna straight away crash everyone from the get-go, and hopefully that will be a great execution for Team Malaysia. Right now, we have one more point to go. Can they actually clean it up with them right here at the semi-finals? Only one can move on to the next level, and those who actually drop for this last match, or even they may be able to actually prolong our semi-finals, will have the opportunity to have the going for a fight with Team Malaysia. Is it gonna be the best of one, or is this the end for Team Indonesia? Give it up for World Esports Championship 2025! Can Team Malaysia go to the grand final, or will it be trampled by Team Indonesia?
Our defending champions one step away from making it back to the final stage of the WEC. And it is only their longtime rivals who will be able to stand in their way. Who will come out on top this time? Will Indonesia be able to bring out a second stage now that they're pushed into a corner?
Oh, I feel like, again, we talked about how the draft-wise, right? now we are seeing that Team Malaysia is just going to continue to keep up the pace, making sure that they'll be able to actually pressure out Team Indonesia. Going to actually pick out. Yums comes in, goes in for the dash, but it's not going to be enough though. Still, Stormy just tried to actually pick up one after another just to give a lot of pressure from that mid lane.
Now, one advantage that Team Indonesia has this time around is that they do actually have mid lane prio. Gatot and Farsa together pair up very well. Kabuki not having a good time in lane as is expected of anyone dealing with an X-Borg. But Team Indonesia can take advantage of their mid lane rotational pressure. It means that Yums isn't able to aggressively invade. It looks like Skies will still try to be a little bit annoying.
Yes, Sakai is definitely going to actually just invade a little by little, getting all the gold crabs as well. Now pushing in, Winnie managed to screw away just safely there, but still, Team Malaysia looking better than ever, making sure that they will be able to put a lot of the constant pressure. Again, just try to actually make sure that Kabuki just don't goes over the line.
Skies is here to clear the wave as much as possible to make sure that Lolil can actually join the turtle fight. So Team Malaysia will just have the direct numbers advantage. Even if Momo hasn't been having a very good time against Iran, they have an X-Borg. Indonesia cannot contest here.
Ooh, barely surviving that, but Momo? Momo? No, definitely not. But it is going to be a free turtle in the hands of Team Malaysia right in instant, giving a lot of the grounds to be covered things out, especially with the gap as well. But here on out, burning Weedy just a little bit, also picking up as well. Federer Center is already open. Joe managed to actually move away with a shadow, but at the same time, a lot of pressure has already been done by Team Malaysia.
I think the timing from Joe could have been a little bit better there. If he waited for the feathered airstrike to break the Feraga armor, he could have actually entered afterwards with the quad shadow and attempt to take out Lolil. But it's still pretty even currently. Team Indonesia has been playing defensively, trying to make sure that they don't fall for the same tricks that happened to them in game number 1. Gold lead is minuscule, though slightly in favor of Team Malaysia.
For Team Malaysia goes in for the dive again, but goes back, just making sure a lot of the continuity of pressure going off for Team Indonesia. Malaysia, they know for a fact that early game, they can definitely push the Indonesia from the back and making sure that they just don't overextend.
Yeah, Team Malaysia knows there is actually a timer on their heads this time around. Yums has not been able to get a lot of value out of this Hilda so far, and Team Indonesia wants to keep it that way as much as possible. They have multiple sources of mid to late game scaling, where once again, if they don't fall too far behind in the mid stages, we'll just be able to carry them through to the end game. But Malaysia...
That is the keys, goes in for the puncher, but missed out a little bit, so Kabuki will still be able to survive things out.
So far, we're seeing actually very good movements from Team Indonesia. They have adjusted, even if we're looking at some of the similar heroes from last time around. Not attempting to make overly aggressive plays onto the opposite side, even though they have a Farsa. They're playing defense. They're keeping themselves safe to play for the late game. They know that Malaysia is the one that needs to be creating pressure.
Here's the thing about Dangerous Grass. This is why it is called dangerous. You don't know where they are coming out for the fight. But coming in right now, they picked up Aran. Goes in for the punch and missed it out. But goes in all day for the fight. Goes out, going to stun it off immediately. But can they actually go there? No! Goes, immediately shuts down Aran. And now, living off this second turtle in the hands of Team Malaysia.
A good attempt by Aran. Survived for a very long time, but not long enough. This is going to be a free turtle for Team Malaysia. And I want to bring attention from everyone to Yums' positioning in that fight as well, specifically cutting off the backup from the rest of Team Indonesia and then pincering around to ensure that the kill goes through. Things like this are what makes the difference in those situations.
I like the fact that no matter how much they try to actually tone this out, now going in for the bottom, goes in for the puncher. Momo gets the kill instead, making sure that every pressure is done by Team Malaysia.
There's just something about the way Team Malaysia plays. They know how to get under your skin. As an EXP laner, you know, they just committed so many resources to kill you the first time. Surely, they won't be around a second time. But no, they're hiding for the ambush, especially when Aran doesn't have his stacks built up yet.
Goes in for the quad shadow. Federer side is already open, but I think Yums will be able to survive it out. Shadow kills comes in, one last hit. Dojo takes down Yums immediately, but there's going to be just a little bit of trade for Team Indonesia. But Stormy on the other hand say, did you just take Yums? You are in the no man's land, my friend. The kiss comes in, he goes in on, but the ambush comes through, and Stormy says, Joe, you are down.
There is no escaping from the eyes of Mage Prodigy himself. Joe finally able to get a kill on the side of Team Indonesia, but the trade of the jungler for the roamer is simply not worth it currently. Even though they've been trying to play defensive, Malaysia has already built up a 2K lead once again at the 6-minute mark. Next turtle up in 35 seconds. Indonesia's gonna need to slow this down even more, but it's difficult to do so now that Aran has been focused as hard as he was.
Now, trying to actually go in for a fight. Kabuki backs off, doesn't have much of the setup that is required for Team Indonesia. They're playing it slowly so far, but again, Sakis, I told you guys, you gotta call the police. This is a stealer right here. He is a thief. He keeps on invading every single corner of Team Indonesia.
And he's gonna keep doing it too unless they can do something to stop him, which so far they have not been successful with. Map control, even though it was being held on preciously by Team Indonesia before, is now slowly being reclaimed by the Malaysian side. Next hurdle gonna be hard to contest. Joe is not even around. He's just gonna try and get farm on the opposite side of the map instead, giving up the objective once again.
The fact that right now, trying to do best to make sure that at least there is going to be a split push. Is it going to be enough? Though so much pressure has already been done, even on the side of the turret itself, we do see that the first layers has already been scrapped out by Team Malaysia. And again, they want to take things a little bit slow, but Malaysia doesn't want to.
Now, why would they? They know that they're strong right now. They know that Team Indonesia will actually become a little scary the later the game goes, so they're gonna keep pushing it no matter the circumstances.
No! Why did you do that? Now Momo will be able to back things up. Takes down Witty immediately. Yeseko, Yumes just down Kabuki with the power to build it, but it's going to be Yeseko to actually take out Yumes, but that's going to be enough though. 2 kills in the blood of Team Malaysia.
Yumes sacrifices himself there, but it's perfectly worth it to get a kill on the enemy marksman. And once again, Team Malaysia perfectly positioning to punish overextensions on the opposite side. Indonesia cannot feel safe even in their half of the map right now. And their tower is slowly being taken more and more. Joe, at the very least, is able to secure his orange buff from Skies this time. But while he's doing that, his purple is being stolen by Stormy.
For one trade, and for another to be lost as well. So that's a sacrifice that is needed by Team Indonesia. But what can you do when every single corner is already been guarded out by Team Malaysia? Again, this is such a clean fight for the 8-minute, 24 seconds. Team Malaysia have proven themselves so powerful to a point that Team Indonesia haven't find the answer for them to back things up.
The gold lead still looking pretty big right now for Team Malaysia. Team Indonesia, they have the late game scaling, yes, but they do still need some control on the map in order to achieve it. And they're not even letting Witty go home!
Witty! Oh, Witty was just shut down immediately. Again, this overextension that was done by Team Indonesia just falters. It gives so much of the body to the hands of Team Malaysia.
The AOG was cancelled 2 times in a row there. That feels bad. Gatot Kaca is popular right now because he has ways of getting in and out of fights for free. But when you have a Zeus in focusing you down and all the crowd control that Malaysia is throwing at you, even the tankiest member of Team Indonesia is not able to survive. Without their Gatot, Team Indonesia cannot come anywhere close to contesting this first Lord of the game. And yet another objective goes in the hands for Malaysia without any form of contention.
And the fact that Yumes was just looking around, making sure that the players of Indonesia just overlooking him, and he's just like, hey, hi guys, what you doing? And now coming off for the Lord that's marching in, it's going to be a little bit of steal of the buff as well. They will be able to secure it out, but somehow Team Malaysia, they know they can be able to actually steal away or even break down that last turret coming in before goes into the inhibitor, but goes out right here. Now, Joe, just a little bit of danger. Punches come through. That's the case. Takes down Joe immediately.
That is just not worth it. You shouldn't be sacrificing your life to protect your tier 2 like that. There is a Lord pushing down bottom. We're 10 minutes in, and Team Malaysia might already be looking at a potential endgame angle. That's just how far apart the goal difference is looking at right now. Towers being taken down left and right. Holy defenses are intact, so Indonesia should be able to survive this push at the very least. But the damage done is going to delay their potential scaling for so long.
Holy defense already been broken. Lord can be able to clear things out for a while, but still, it's not going to be good. God Shadow is already out. They're looking for a way whether they want to actually go into the fight, but somehow they are hesitant. They're making sure there is going to be a discipline so that they can set things up for the defense first. Clear out all the minions with so that they can actually do a little bit of trade. But here again, this is just timing for Team Indonesia, and they're leaving all those space for Malaysia to just get a lot of their own buffs, getting all their stacks as well. So it's a little bit of risky coming up for Team Indonesia.
Considering the goal difference we're looking at right now, Indonesia being able to keep all of their inhibitors alive is actually a pretty good scenario. And even that is after losing all of their external towers. Team Malaysia continuing with the snowball, continuing to threaten every part of the map. Team Indonesia has to stay together to avoid being picked off. And even when they're together, they can't really find anything on the map.
The fact that right now goes in for the burning ground. Can they actually go through? Federer Strike has already opened, but it's going to be Joe who will be able to take down by Stormy. Comes along right now. They had to forfeit. They had to actually disperse because Team Malaysia, they also don't want to overextend. But it seems like Yums just overlooking, trying to find a way. Can they actually do a little bit of setup right here? Team Indonesia fall with 4 players only to survive it out.
Step by step, the defending champions are getting closer and closer to the returning to the battle for the throne that they were at a single year ago. Indonesia, their chances are not nil, not 0, but they are very, very small. They need a miracle to happen, a massive mistake being made by their opponents in order to get the scaling necessary. They need to find shutdowns. But it's not like Team Malaysia actually has that many kills either. They've been pressuring Shirley through macro. And because of that, the gold bounties, even if they were to get picked off, are not as high as you would think and not sufficient. Team Indonesia needs multiple teamfight victories in order to get the scaling necessary to compete.
Who they want to catch? How they want to catch? That's the question for Team Indonesia. This is going to be a free lot again for the team of Malaysia itself because they're definitely going to actually not going to test it off. They're going to make sure to clear it out. But at the same time, right here, AOG had to be pulled out by Weedy just to survive it out. Even Aaron seems a little bit lost there, doesn't know how to actually do a little bit of surprise element. And Team Malaysia, again, this is where they're just punishing as well as pressuring Indonesia to just set things up for defense.
This is just perfect textbook play coming in here from the host country representatives. They are ticking every single box, fulfilling every single objective and condition to completely deny their opponents space on the map. And we can see that snowball coming up as a result. The Lord now going to be pushing in bot side. There are only inhibitors left standing, no holy defenses. It's a 10k gold difference, which means that the damage from Team Indonesia is still not sufficient. Haas Claws only just completed on Kabuki to try and keep himself in the fight a little bit longer. But Team Malaysia just has so many more resources, and the damage scaling is on another level altogether. Whatever happens here, Team Indonesia needs to find some kind of perfect engagement. And even that might not be enough.
Goes in for the bottom turret, right? This is going to be burst down by the Lord itself. It's going to be opening the door. Goes in for the puncher. Witty, half line, surviving that out. But again, they are being a little bit disciplined. But Joe suddenly out of nowhere at the mid was trying to do a little bit of backstabbing. Nah, Yums denies it. You are not going to allow to do that, my friend.
I mean, as long as he can get out, it's still actually a perfectly viable play here. In fact, it's going to be able to save Indonesia a second tower. If not, I think Team Malaysia could have taken that mid inhibitor as well. So that is actually the correct play being done by Joe on the Hayabusa currently. They're going to try and delay for as much as possible, but here comes more minion waves.
Fighter Strike has already been opened just to make sure to clear the minions away. Coming in right now, Loleo trying to actually burst down with the Ignition, but still not going to be enough though. Now River's Fighter comes through, but they are going to jump right into the midst right here with Shadow Kill, but doesn't make it actually a good damage. No, it's not going to be enough though. Still have a survivor from the side of Team Malaysia, so they can back off easily, fastly. But I like the way how the stages say, "Good job, you! Good job, you!" Because they were literally rushing on, saying like, "Yums, go get him, man!"
Of course they would, right? They're in a very comfortable place. They're feeling themselves. Everything's going their way. But I will give praise to Team Indonesia right now. Those were very solid defenses that we saw considering the gold lead, keeping themselves as safe as possible, using their health as resources, and dropping in whenever they think they can do enough poke to maybe zone Team Malaysia back. Because of that, they have been able to keep 2 inhibitors intact for now. Next Lord is going to be coming up in 20 seconds. And Team Indonesia might be able to hold on to it if they're able to keep themselves in place. But the ideal would be to try and maybe contest it away from Team Malaysia. They still have to be very careful because the bot lane is wide open and Skies is already setting up the slow push into it. Because of that, they can take the Lord Dance quite easily and consistently threaten a backdoor victory.
Let's see. Is it going to be a backdoor success? Goes in for the VICTUS strike, but at the same time, they goes in for the last Insanity. Somehow doesn't manage to go in, but Yum's able to take down Kabuki. Goes in for the AOG. Wait, just managed to actually disperse Team Malaysia. But is it going to be enough though? So far, they are managed to actually trade off one player.
A beautiful ambush again from Team Malaysia. They have their front line threaten the jungle, then they come from behind.
Comes in, yes, a go! Shut down by Sakis immediately. 3 more players to go. Goes in for the puncher again. Joe, have a line still surviving it out, but unfortunately had to back things out for the fountain. Now they're gonna actually push in for the turret. Immediately trying to actually make sure that another turret will be opening it up. Goes in for the quad shadow. Doesn't manage to actually go in for the shadow kill. Joe just also lost in the midst right now. Doesn't know what to do. Goes in for the last Insanity. Loleo takes down Witty, leaving Aran as well as Joe. 2 more players to go. They are going to lock into Aran. Now Aran will never be able to grab the wave from the hands of Stormy. Crystal is on the loose right now. Goes in for the puncher as well as for the Thorn Rose, but Crystal is in the midst of it all. Malaysia will be the first ever Grand Finalist!
The defending champions return to the final stage of the World Esports Championship. In spectacular fashion, they have systematically dismantled Team Indonesia. Not a single opportunity given, not a single mercy spared. This is the strength of Team Malaysia on full display.
Such performance. Definitely, this is another history to be made for our Team Malaysia. They know for a fact that they want to contest. They want to keep that title under their belt. And this is why they're making sure that the first game of the day is a clean sweep.
A well-deserved victory and a team deserving all the praise in the world. There's really not much more we can say about it. That is unfortunately the end of the road for Team Indonesia. And as per usual, we've got an interview up on stage with our host. So we'll let Rose take it away from here.
The reigning kings have returned to prove that the crown was never up for grabs in the first place. Tuan Tuan Dan Puan Puan, this is your first grand finalist, Team Malaysia! Boys, that was such a convincing win. A very clean 1-2. How does it feel to be defending your title in front of your home ground?
First of all, I want to say thank you and very grateful, Alhamdulillah, for this win, for this slot secured to Grand Final. And I'm really satisfied because we really working hard for this. Because we have only 2 weeks after MPL to prepare this, and I'm really grateful with our new lineup as Iesf. We able to achieve this grand final. Maybe not champion yet. We will tomorrow. Today.
Later.
Okay, sorry. Later, we will get the trophy. Don't worry, guys.
Wow, that is such a statement and a promise to the citizens. And of course, Stormy, with such an incredible win streak so far in the WEC, how do you expect the grand finals to play out later? And who do you think you guys will be going up against between Turkey and Cambodia?
Cambodia. We want to fight Cambodia.
Why?
We miss fighting them in M Series last time.
Yeah, you guys miss fighting them. And of course, how do you think that's going to play out? Do you think it's going to be like a very 50-50 game?
We never know what is going to happen, right? So let's just see.
All right then. Once again, guys, this is your first grand finalist. And later on in the evening, we will see the grand finals live in action. Thank you very much to Sakais and Stormy for having a little chat with me. And with that, let us throw it back to the casters to give us a full rundown on this incredible match.
Another level here. at the World Esports Championship. A clean 2-0 sweep. And the games didn't even look like they made them break a sweat here. 17 minutes, but the kill score is 12-2. Systematic oppression, taking every single angle of the map away from their opponents.
It's really definitely a great momentum building up right here for the first game of Team Malaysia, and it's actually setting up as well our prediction or even our expectation coming into that grand final as well. So looking on the stats right now, we do feel like it is heavier on Team Malaysia. They know for a fact what needs to be done. Their draft was just perfect. Again, how Stormy was just picking up that Jushin and showing off how this is how you want to play Jushin. You want to actually able to pick out, able to zone out, and making sure that there's going to be a good follow-up. Because a couple of times that we see from the first draft, what Winjura was trying to do was not successful. It was cancelled out immediately by Team Malaysia. And talking about how Humes making that game maker, even though it was just overextension to actually sacrifice his body, but still it was enough to actually just shut down one of the players that is very, very fruitful or even useful in the hands of Indonesia, which is Joe. Because if you don't have someone to actually be able to go into the back line or even actually give the support for the damage, it actually kind of tones down a little bit of the team's fight if it happens to Team Indonesia.
Personally, I feel like from the side of Team Indonesia, this is once again a bit of a miscoordination when it comes down to draft and the gameplay.
Yeah.
They went for the Hayabusa first with the Gatot, which is perfectly fine as an opening, but then they went for the Uranus, which can quite easily be countered afterwards and doesn't offer a lot of utility besides being a damage sponge. Yes, it might be a good target for the Zusin, but it can also be vulnerable to it. When they locked in the Farsa afterwards, I was expecting them to take advantage of mid lane prio with the Farsa Gatot duo and maybe get kills on the side lanes, but instead they played defensive to attempt to scale up for the Obsidian and heroes like that, but that gives, again, too much control and too much initiative freedom over the Team Malaysia.
Oh, agree, definitely. But this is out our key player for our second draft. Again, can somebody call the police right now? Not just Sakis getting 2 titles right now, he's getting 3 titles all by himself. Kau tamak Sakis. Very, very greedy right there. We've got Hunter with 807 GPM, the GOAT with 59,000 total damage, and with the best support total assist as total 9. And we have our tanker yet again. Indonesia was doing well. I mean, we saw how Widi was doing the first round as well with the Esmeralda. Try to make sure that they have a good, solid front line, making sure that the survivability was really good. That's the only question. When it comes to Indonesia, we don't question that. They know that they can be able to actually just hold out their position when it comes to setup. But again, that damage that needs to pull through for the follow-up was not there. And that was missing out for the action for Team Indonesia. But our MVP for our last round of semi-finals between Malaysia versus the team of Indonesia is going to be Sakai, the Stealer, the Thief, with KDA 209, GPM 807 with DPM 3,504.
The Sky Prince does not need to steal, for everything in the Land of Dawn already belongs under his throne. But he goes ahead and steals it anyway, because
Yeah.
why not, right?
Yeah.
This man stealing every buff on the map, every jungle camp, every advantage that Indonesia could have, stealing every key player, every MVP title, and also the hearts of Malaysian fans at the same time. What more can you say? This man was just flexing on that Lancelot.
Oh, definitely. Perfectly executing every single rotation as a jungler, even as an assassin as well. And this is where the fine line. You talked about how the players from Indonesia, will they actually give it a really direct, honest, straightforward draft where you actually give that opportunity for Hayabusa as well as Lancelot to be picked up? Now, going into the grand finals, between Cambodia as well as Turkey, will they actually deny it after all? Because that is going to be a little bit of risky if they actually let it out. Because when we actually compare to woman category, right? Pretty much either they take out Lancelot or they take out Hayabusa, leaving only one assassin, at least one of the assassin for the meta junglers to be picked up for either side of the opponent or even the first pick team. But going into the highlights here, I think when it comes to the no man's land, I mean, yeah, Joe was doing best to trade it off, but again, you're trading off with the Roma, and it ended up being been tagged off by not just the KASIH, but also by Stormy.
This draft coming in from Team Malaysia is not without its risks, of course. They're going to be lacking in terms of late game damage output since they don't have a single marksman, nor do they have heroes like Lunox that could potentially make up for their lack of presence. That means they have to dominate early to mid game as much as possible. They have to end the game before the 16-minute mark, or at the very least in such a big lead that it doesn't really matter anyway. Because otherwise, you lose out a lot, because your heroes just drop off in terms of utility. Team Malaysia, though, is probably one of the best teams at demonstrating how this kind of team draft should be utilized, should be executed. The way they split themselves up to find farm on every corner of the map, the way that they know how to send us the specific amount of resources and bodies necessary to make something happen somewhere, to make sure that objective contests are totally free. It's very systematic, very textbook, but it's also very hard to execute. So it's so impressive to see what they've been capable of here.
Hey, high risk, high reward. That's what they always say. And this is a great reward for the team of Malaysia to secure that final slot. But that's just going to be the first slot of the day. We still need to find the second grand finalist. And that's going to be the next game that is going to actually determine whether or not Cambodia versus Turkey that will get that slot.
Both of these teams have experience as being the dark horses of international tournaments. Both of these regions have demonstrated plenty of potential in the past, and I'm really eager to see what will happen when they do go head-to-head. With the threat of Team Indonesia now taken off the table, all eyes are going to be on Team Malaysia. One of these two squads will have the chance to challenge them for the throne of WEC at the end of the day.
Yeah, but before that, we have a short break. As usual, we have to take a little bit of breather. I need my monster energy to unleash my beast for the next semi-finals. And not only that, we got to be prepared for the grand final as well as lower brackets. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Get your drinks, get your snack as well. This is the World Esports Championship with Fasha Bunny as well as Staffar. We'll be right back right after this.
To be in the zone, gamers need true support. One that's in sync with your body